Hello and welcome back to my channel. I've just returned from group. I mean, it's a bit of a sort of whiz bang video today because Joe has to go to work. So we've just literally driven back from group, walked in the door, sat down and away we go. Haven't even had time to think about what I'm going to say, so I'm just going to tell you about my week and what's relevant, what's happened at group this morning and what I feel inspired by. Firstly, suffice to say I'm smiling. I did deal, I believe, really well with my game last week because I know I have to accept that today. And this week I've done what I did last week, as in I've had 4 healthy extras every day. I had a total of 72 sins over the week. Did actually have 25 of those on Wednesday. Was out with a friend and chose to have a fruit scone while I was out, and then counted the rest of my sins for the day rather than ignoring some of them and bodging it up, as we would say around here. So in total 72 sins for the week, which is an average of 10 1/4 a day. So did that, had some fabulous food, been eating some great vegetables this week, some nice meat and good healthy extra choices, nice things for my sins. Some different sushis this week because we actually discovered in Boots a sushi which is 15 small pieces for 1 sin. It's £3 and it's in the meal deal for £3.39 with a fruit snack and a bottle of water, which keeps you bang on plan. And it was really nice. And as I say, it's 1 sin. It's on the app, so you'll be able to find it. So I've had a few different sushis this week, mixed and matched my sushi a bit this week, but as usual, I do use sushi for my sins quite often. And what result did I get? Yeah, bang on plan week, smile on my face, £1.5 loss. But that's okay, because next week some of that will be back on. I'm going to accept that I need to go up and down. I'm not going to try desperately to stand still every week because that just doesn't work for me. It makes me too focused on what I'm eating. And when I get too focused on food, that's when I start to go wrong, because my obsession has returned to being all around food. And I like to eat in a relaxed manner and just enjoy 3 good meals a day. I don't want to be obsessing about what I'm eating. I do, however, keep a food diary religiously every day. And that actually brought to mind some of the stuff we were talking about in group this morning, because one of the things we spoke about was the add-ons, the little extras, the things we don't always count. And Naomi was kindly reminding us, gently but firmly reminding us, that those are the things that will do us no good. So, you know, if you weigh any healthy extra cheese and the chunk of cheese you cut off is 36 grams, what do you do, Joe?
Oh, take it down.
Take it down. Joe does this for me. I mean, Joe weighs my cheese most of the time because it's easier than me getting my talking scales out.
Just threw me because we have feta and feta's 45.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my feta cheese is 45 grams and Joe weighs it for me because it's often quicker than me getting my talking scales out and faffing around. But I tell you something, in all honesty, if he cuts a piece of cheese that's 46 grams, you don't leave it, do you, Joe?
No.
The 1 gram comes off.
No.
Because he knows.
It's not 46 grams for a choice, is it?
45. And if, for example, we cut a noggin of cheese and it's 36 grams and we think, well, it doesn't matter, it's near enough. It's not near enough, because I know, personally, if I cut a piece that was 26 grams instead of 30, I wouldn't think that's near enough. I'd think, I'm shortchanging myself, I want those other 4 grams. So Naomi was reminding us, nicely but firmly, you know, if you walk into the kitchen at night to make a drink and you think, I'll just have one of those Maria biscuits, they're only 1 sin, it still counts. And I think for me on Wednesday that was a really good thing, although she hadn't said it then, it was in my mind, because when I had a large fruit scone at a bistro, instead of thinking, oh, fruit scones start at 13 sins, I actually acknowledged this was a bigger than average fruit scone, straight out the oven, absolutely gorgeous, and I counted 20 sins for it, because there's no way that fruit scone was only 13 sins. And if I'd have said, it says in the book, 13 sins, I'd have been cheating myself. I didn't eat the butter and the jam that came with it. That's because I don't really like butter and jam on scones. But also, you know, that amount of butter, it's been an awful lot of sins. But I'm happy to eat butter at 6 sins a tablespoon if I want it, if I need it. And we have actually this week also bought ghee, haven't we, Joe?
Yeah, for cooking.
For cooking. We haven't checked it yet. I'm assuming it will be the same as butter because it is clarified butter. But I'm happy to sin ghee and cook with it because, as I've said many times before, I won't use fry light. So, yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a good all round. A few challenging things happening, but they're not challenging my food. They're just challenging my patience or my strengths in different ways. So at group this morning, brilliant morning, we had 2 more people get to Target, and one of them is a lovely, bubbly lady, and the squeal and scream that came out from her when she got to Target, I'm surprised I didn't hear it 5 miles away. She was dancing. It was a fabulous result. She has done so well. Slow loser, but a determined one. And we also had a beautiful young lady this morning get to Target with a 6 stone loss in 55 weeks. And I think that's inspiring, really inspiring. We had other awards given out this morning. We had more new members, loads of positive stuff, loads of honesty. And that's what I love about group. That's why I say, don't just stick to plan, but stay to group. Because if I'd have left group this morning, when Joe dropped me off, if I'd have come straight home with him, because he's got to dash off to work, and said, look, I'll forego group this morning, Joe, because it makes it more convenient for you, I'd have missed out on a hell of a lot this morning. A hell of a lot. I would have missed out on the fact that one lovely lady in group had picked me green beans from her garden this morning and brought me a bag of green beans. How nice is that? Another lovely lady in group who won the raffle decided to then give me the raffle prize. I mean, that was just so surprising and such a nice thing to do. She won a beautiful American chiller bag that Naomi and Kelvin had brought back from Florida. And when they announced the prize, and she's like, I'm going to get that. And I thought, oh, great, how nice. And then she just handed it to me and she said, that's for you. I mean, how lovely is that? I just feel so blessed in that group. It's like being part of a big family. And I think, roughly calculating this morning, there were 10 Target members in that meeting. 10. Now, I used to go to Slimming World year after year after year and fail. And very, very rarely was there ever a Target member in the room. And I'm just finding it inspiring now that people are getting to Target and people are staying there because they keep coming back. I find it really motivating. Right, a couple of sin changes this morning that were announced, and maybe you won't hear these if you don't go to group. The first one was Aunt Bessie's frozen sweet jacket potatoes, or, yeah, how do you say that? Sweet
potato jackets.
Sweet potato jackets. I knew it didn't sound right. Aunt Bessie's frozen sweet potato jackets apparently were free. I didn't even know Aunt Bessie did them. Apparently they were free, but they're now half a sin each. Right? Look for new packaging, apparently. And a tin of Morrison's Irish stew, which I've never tried. I'm sure I'd like it because I love potatoey, meaty, stewy things. But a tin of Morrison's Irish stew was free and is now 7 sins. So if you buy that, be careful. The tin, the label's changing, the sins are changing. Now, if you're looking it up on the app to clarify this, on the app it says 3.5 sins. That's for half a tin. It does say a 200 gram portion, but Naomi said that's very easy to miss because a lot of them will say per 400 gram can, and you expect it to say that because it only comes in a 400 gram can. But actually the sin value it quotes is for half a can. So it's 7 sins for the full can. They were also talking about, with effect from Monday, coconut macaroon hi-fi bars are back. But something I hadn't picked up on before is that they're only back for a limited period. They finish again in September. So if you want to stockpile them, start buying them from your next group because they're only going to be around for, I think it's 8 weeks. And they were so popular, weren't they, the last time we had them, this time last year. Right, one little thing we picked up in Aldi.
Oh, the wrong way up. Other way around. No, sorry. Spin them. Yeah.
How many different ways can you get it? One thing we picked up in Aldi yesterday, these are the Heinz no added sugar beans, and they're 65 pence a tin in Asda currently, and Morrison's Aldi have the pack of 3 cans for 99p. So you can't go wrong with those. As I was saying to Joe, one of the things I've been looking at lately is where things tend to get sugar added to them. Baked beans and the tomato sauce should already be sweet enough, naturally. Why do we need added sugar? Maybe it's a bit of an acquired taste, because I did notice the first time I had no added sugar beans, I noticed the lack of sugar. I don't know. I wouldn't notice it today. But yeah, they're a good buy in Aldi. And we did notice yesterday, didn't we, Joe? They had quite a few new things in Aldi.
Yeah.
They also had the coconut fry light at a really good price if you buy that. So yes. One other little thing I want to talk about, and then I'm going to have to go because of Joe needing to go to work. This week, on a few days, I have been quite tired. And that's unusual for me because I'm usually bursting with energy. But last Sunday afternoon when Joe was at work, I actually was sitting in the chair reading a book and I fell asleep, and I never do that. So it's not my age, I'm sure it's not my age, I'm not quite that old yet, but I don't fall asleep in the chair, never, ever, not in the evenings, not in the afternoons, not at all. I'm not that kind of person. But I felt quite tired, and I mentioned it to Joe yesterday. Could it be something I'm eating? Is it something I'm doing? And I have noticed that now that I have 4 healthy extras, 2 of those tend to get spent on dairy products. Generally, one will be cheese, the other will be my 400 ml of skimmed goat's milk. I also have a 250 gram tub of quark in my breakfast every morning and a Muller light yoghurt. That is quite a lot of dairy. I've never decreased that in the time that I've been doing this plan. I used to sometimes have total yoghurt as well, but I don't tend to have that very often now. But Joe said to me a few facts about dairy and why it can tire you, and I'm just going to ask Joe to explain it simply to us, because if I try to tell you, I'll probably get it wrong and I'll be long-winded. But can you just explain, Joe, why dairy can be soporific and tiring?
Because in milk there's 2 different types of protein. There's whey protein and there's casein protein.
Okay.
And casein protein is a casomorphine, which means that, like, in your brain it plugs into the same receptors as opiate drugs. It's an opiate drug. And so in nature it would be a great thing because it would be soporific to the baby and it would make them sleep, and sleep is when you recover and grow.
So we want our babies to have milk so that they grow while they're sleeping, basically.
Yeah. So they're like tired and they're quiet and they fall asleep and they grow properly and they rest and recover the correct amount. But when adults take it in, it can make you feel tired and a bit slow and sluggish,
and that is exactly how I was feeling. Slow, sluggish and tired. But
we also found out that day that you hadn't food optimized properly. You had a meal that was entirely comprised of carbohydrates. It was all
my quick lunch.
Starch and fruit. There was no protein or fat at the meal. It was kind of unbalanced.
That could have been a contributing factor. So again, the importance of being aware of what I'm eating to me is vital, and the importance of food optimizing, because just not food optimizing on one meal, and it was too carb heavy, and I literally sat here and I could feel my head going, and the next thing Joe's coming through the door and I'm thinking, God, what's he doing home already? I must have been asleep for about 40 minutes, and that's not me. I don't even do that if I'm ill. So yeah, really it's about being mindful about what we're eating. Maybe I do need to take a check on the amount of dairy I have. Not every day, but maybe look to vary it a bit more. As I've said, one of the things we've been looking at this week is cooking with butter, Kerrygold specifically, and also cooking with ghee, which is spelled G-H-E-E. I learnt that this week. Because these are healthy things to do. We do cook with coconut oil, but Joe tends to find that burns off too quickly in his body and he gets hungry again. I don't use enough of it to notice, to be honest. I prefer coconut butter, which is divine, but 6 sins a tablespoon, so worth it. Anyway, there you go. So I've had a great week. I've lost 1.5 pounds. I need to gain or maintain next week because I'm only half a pound from the bottom of my target. I'm sitting at 9 stone 4.5. My target is 9 stone 7. I am still absolutely passionate about this plan, over the moon with the results I'm getting and the results I'm seeing other people get. You can't fail. It works if you work it. You just cannot fail on this plan. It's amazing. All the years when I said, this plan doesn't work for me, my body's this, my body does that, I actually find now that my body is performing in every way it properly should because of the way I'm eating. I love it. 7:30 this morning, pounding the pavements, getting 3,000 steps in, and it works up an appetite for breakfast if I do that. So we're tending to do 3,000 steps before breakfast and 3,000 steps after supper at night, or dinner at night, because it's a good way for me. If I've done 3,000 steps before I have my breakfast, I come back, my metabolism is fired, I'm ready for my breakfast, I really enjoy it, and then I'm into the day, feeling like $1 million, instead of feeling like the sluggish old person that I was feeling like 5-10 years ago. I'm feeling like, well, soon to be 61, going on 35. I love it, absolutely love it. So yeah, I'm going to carry on this week. I'm going to stick to plan. I'm going to live this lifestyle. I'm not taking days off. I'm not going to cheat myself or treat myself. I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm going to stick with my 4 healthy extras a day, between 5 and 10 sins. And as I say, this week, hit the 10, but it still was fine. And I'm going to continue loving life. So, gotta go. Joe has to run. But remember, it works if you work it. It won't if you don't. And we'll see you next Saturday. Cheers.